branch. We've had an amazing team of people that over the years that have run the branch, and you know, being new to the branch myself, I can appreciate some of the work that's come before me. And you know, I've been working on some of the obituary books, for example, and just seeing the amount of time and effort that went into some of the those projects before us is just phenomenal. So we have some special guests today. We have some door prizes that will be at the end of the meeting. We have refreshments for the end. So you know, with such a busy program, I want to kind of get right to it. So first of all, I want to bear with me here. So I'm going to introduce Steve Fulton. Steve is the president of the OGS, and he's going to be doing a quick presentation on the anniversary of the thing. So I'll give you a bit of a bio on Steve Fulton anyway. I'll do this now because he's going to be talking later too. Steve's the Steve Fulton, UE, is president of president of the Ontario Genealogical Society, and resides in St. Catharines. He's been a member since 2008, including the branch chair of Niagara since 2009. Steve's main goal is to empower volunteers. He has brought together many groups for the benefit of the family history, building bridges, and meeting new people. And I have to say that his bio is very, very short, considering the amount of work that I know he does for OGS. He's got to be one of the busiest guys I know. So anyway, without further ado, this is Steve Fulton. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Well, thank you, Ben. And what a great day to celebrate 50 years of this branch. Outstanding work. Outstanding work by those who have come before Ben and the team that is currently now. And we know that this current team will continue to lead the branch, and we're hoping we'll see it in 75 and 80, right? You're committed to that? Come on, Ben, it's easy. Just say yes.
Maybe his grandchildren.
We'll just bring in the whole family. So today we want to talk a little bit about the society and the benefits of it, and you know, what I call the hidden secrets of the society. That some people aren't aware of. I'm actually surprised a lot of people aren't aware of. But we almost didn't make it here this morning. Not because of an accident or anything like that, but you know, when you come through a city, they put these cemeteries strategically in place. And if anybody who knows me, I can't not go into a cemetery. They're the coolest thing that I enjoy. And because we went in this morning, I took my wife groaning as I'm jumping back and forth out of the car taking pictures. And I thought they were so cool, I actually inserted them into the PowerPoint. So just bear with me. I have 3 pictures I have to show you. They're so cool. And I don't even know what cemetery it was. Do you remember what it was?
If there's deer in it,
it's about 2 minutes down the road.
If there's deer in it, it's Woodland.
Mount
Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant, probably, yeah.
Mount Pleasant, that's what it was. Well, now I know what it is. Great, thanks. But these headstones here, these zinc headstones, very uncommon in Niagara, but the closer we get to St. Thomas, where I learned that they were manufactured, they become more popular. But this one has like a planter in the top, and it was cast like plants, like a fern kind of thing, and that was, I thought, was really, really neat. Does anybody know the uniqueness of and I learned this down in Ohio, the face plates in the 30s, they were a big part of Prohibition. Because you can unscrew the... And then you'd be like, go see Great Uncle John, he's got a present for you. And during Prohibition, down in Ohio, that's what they would say. They'd go, and the bootleggers would hide whiskey in the zinc headstones. So fascinating. This, I got out and took it because I was very overwhelmed. the veterans area, I've not seen a cemetery set up like this, and it was just rows upon rows of headstones. And I think that's a great tribute to them, so I took that picture. And then this one. I've yet to see, oh, I just killed the PowerPoint. It's a triangle. It's just a little pyramid. It's probably no bigger than, 3-4 feet off the ground. And that's what it was. And I've never seen one like that. So, hey, we're going to talk about databases and stuff, but I had to share this. This is very unique. This will go into my collection of headstones. And it was quite a mix of a cemetery. But we had to get out of there because they were going to do a burial. So we didn't want to interfere with that.
Can I interrupt for just a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. We'll continue this right after. I just want to introduce one of our other special guests.
Oh, absolutely.
Who just arrived because she can't stay as well. So I'd like to welcome Peggy Sadler to the front. She is our MPP for London West.
Thanks for coming.
Steve, hi. Well, I didn't quite know what to expect, but this is fantastic to see so many people out here this morning celebrating such a milestone, 50 years of the Middlesex London Genealogical Society. And as MPP for London West, I'm very pleased to present this scroll on this significant achievement. So Ben or Sheila, who can take it? So the scroll reads, London and Middlesex Genealogical Society, warmest congratulations and best wishes on the celebration of your 50th anniversary. By preserving our past and documenting our stories, you are providing richness to the shared history and culture of London and Middlesex. So thank you very much for all of the work that you do and your interest in our history, because certainly it is knowing our past that helps us understand our present and keeps us connected to each other and to the generations that went before. So enjoy the celebration today, and yeah, keep going for another 50 years.
No problem.
Steve, could you introduce your wife to us as well?
Sure. My wife always hides in the background. My lovely wife, Diana, is actually the reason why I'm into this. The running joke is she told me to get a hobby. She knew nothing about her papa.
And get off the computer.
Get off the computer and get a hobby. Well, that kind of backfired. My wife's grandfather was a British home child, and that is what set us forth on the path of understanding what her past was and what my past was. So my wife is a British home child descendant, and I am United Empire Loyalist descendant as well. So we're good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
All right, let's go. This has got to be my most important picture that I always use in any talk that I do, and you will hear me say it all the time. This is the boots on the ground, and that is everyone in this room. And out of all of the secrets and all of the things and all the good things of a genealogical society, a local branch, a provincial society, you can't pay for that on the internet. That is the best kept secret out there, is the people that are in this room and do genealogy day by day and family history. And I congratulate you for the work that you've done, and I hope that you can pass that on to others and teach them in that process. I did have an opportunity to speak to a corporate company and actually dared them. I said, we have something you will never have. And they said, wow, we'll buy it if we need it. I said, well, I'm not sure how you're going to buy this. And they're like, you're right. I said, so just remember that you need us as much as we need you in the work that we do. So we are an ever-changing society. I was just talking to Dennis earlier, and he was commenting on how technology is changing the hobby or the passion. Let's get out of hobby. It's not a hobby. For anybody who's brand new, it might be a hobby. Please note that it will become a serious addiction in your life. How many have just like, who many's been doing it 30 plus years? Okay, great. How many's been doing it for 10 plus? Okay. How many's doing it because they heard there was cookies here today? Well, guess what? I already took them. We are an ever-changing society with technology and how the next generation is adopting. I know I have two young adults, they're 21 and 23, and they just don't recognize the word society. They don't understand the concept of it. When I joined the OGS and told my grandparents that I joined the society, they were completely enthralled, that I had been part of this. But even I didn't understand, and I'm not a baby boomer, but I didn't understand. But eventually I learned that the networking, the boots on the ground, is why it's so important in what we do. But technology, DNA, and all the things that are happening nowadays is changing what we're doing. And I understand there's people that still want, the book and the paper, and that's okay. And then there's some people like myself, all my research is electronic. Except for the valuable documents, the original documents that I've received, everything I have is electronic. So, we're at this point where we have to, understand both sides. One of the coolest things, David Thompson and I went down to FGS this year, which is a society for societies, and they were talking, MyHeritage was talking about artificial intelligence, where they could actually take your DNA and they could take all the results and they could take all the documents, and the computer systems would actually start to hypothesize if you and I were related in what we're doing. So that is where they're taking technology. I'd rather go back to the paper and make sure the connections are there. But that is how we're changing. We're also changing because of just simply government laws in concern to privacy. You've all heard privacy laws that are changing. As genealogists, we want to give everything away. We think everything should be free for information, but because of the technology, it's changing that as well. So let's get into some of the resources that I consider very important. And then some of them that you can't find online. And some of these here are listed, and some of them may be familiar to you. The most important one that we have been working on is TONY, the Ontario Name Index. How many people have used TONY? How many people don't have a clue what I'm talking about? Okay, well that's good. Then you're in the right room. The Ontario Name Index is an index that you'll find, it's got 5.6 million names on the OGS website. If you go to the OGS website, it's right there in the search box, main page. We put it there. And what it is, it's a referral database. So if the London Museum had archives and they could put it here, and if you were to find your family, it would say, go and talk to the London Museum, or go talk to this archives or this archives. That's its purpose, okay, is to get information into there. We just found this week that TONY is on LifeWire is the 7th most popular genealogy page because people are able to find information to it. What else we got here? Library indexes, name indexes. The best one, the one I enjoy, is the Ontario Locator. And I'm not familiar with London at all for little communities. And I come from Niagara, so I have to use Niagara references. But I live in St. Catharines with my family. Do you know that I can drive to Thunder Bay in 20 minutes? Yes, I can. because Thunder Bay is a small community of Fort Erie. There's another community in Niagara Falls that's called White Pigeon. When we're going through census records, when we're going through different records, and they start referring to little towns that just don't exist anymore, that's what that database is for. It's listing hundreds, if not thousands, of names that are not common names anymore, and you can use that to find where your families lived in that community. There's lots of them in Niagara, and I'm assuming there's lots of them here in London. Little community names that nobody ever uses anymore, but they're still there. Okay? Name indexes, library indexes, funeral records. Do you guys have funeral records or access to funeral records here in London? Yeah.
No.
No? No? Okay. We had an opportunity back in Niagara. We had a funeral director present to us, and Morrison Son Funeral Homes. Well, Morrison Son Funeral Homes is the oldest funeral home in Canada. So it's got records from 1828 to, and we've got up to 1965. And because they're holding back 50 years, just privacy issues. But we were able to transcribe them. They had massive books, and we went in and we scanned them, and we were able to index them, we were able to share them. But the key to it is that his staff were not now spending 3 or 4 hours on a query. They were using our database that we created for them. And these are records that we have on the Niagara branch that are nowhere else. They're proprietary records. But I just said earlier, well, we're genealogists, we wanted to share everything. Well, I did try sharing it to Ancestry and others, because I thought, oh, maybe this could be a little income thing for the branch. Ancestry actually looked at us and said, no, it's too small. We don't want them on our site. Don't come to us unless you have 7 digits. So anything under 1 million, they're not interested. So they're a corporate entity, and that is fine, but to me, that immediately solidified the importance of our branches, of our society, and the resources that are there. We're also familiar with census and the IOOF, they're the International Order of Oddfellows. The society has 65,000 insurance records that during a time period they were able to sign up people, and it has all sorts of medical information. That database is on the OGS site, and I did get an email last week about promoting it, and we haven't quite figured out how to. The problem is when they scan them all photocopier 1, photocopier 2, photocopier 3. So finding, the record on the index and finding which photocopier number it is been a little bit of a challenge. So that's what we want to do. But I know for those people who have accessed those records, it's been a phenomenal piece of information because it has all the medical history of that ancestor in that. So unfortunately this isn't as coming as clear, but on the OGS site, and I'll try to name off a few here, that we have on here. One of the ones that we just recently started, or David started, was the Ontario Church Photo Database. And people are taking pictures of their ancestors' churches, and we're allowing them to be uploaded right to the OGS site. So other people can get access to images of churches and stuff like that across Ontario. I'm not sure the latest count, but I think it's...
Pushing 300.
Is it pushing 300 photos?
With a great contribution from London Middlesex.
Great.
London Middlesex is very well covered.
Good, good. So it's another way of trying to get the local information out to those who may not live in the community. In that Ontario Locator we talked about, the Women's Institute branches, they have donated a collection. All these indexes at one time were in the members only section of the OGS website. And when we rebuilt the site a year ago, we pushed them all out into the public so that they're all searchable and accessible. One of the newest ones we put out is you can access families from the OGS site, but now there's an index that you can actually search from 1961 to 2007. And it's indexed. We've got to get someone to bring it up the rest of the way, but it's an index of all the articles and all the names through this index. A massive resource if you're looking for information. Okay? The Memorial Project and the unregistered and inactive cemeteries, which continues to grow each and every day. They tend to find cemeteries all the time. And just lately, we have the Huguenot collection that was sitting in a filing cabinet. We managed to get a couple summer students, and now that has been indexed. If you have connections to that, again, we're trying to figure out how to get the resources online to make it available for you. So, you see here. One of the other resources on the site is a complete listing of all the branches, the special interest groups, and a lot of people don't realize that we're starting to give branches and extensions so people can call them directly and try to get access to kind of the boots on the ground people there. This particular index, and I'll bring it up when I'm done here, this is not a good example of it, but if you go under the other databases on the OGS site, we've created a complete list. We've gone from branch to branch, listing every free resource on their site and putting into one complete list that you can go through. Now, this is a manual thing we do. It could work today and not work tomorrow. There is instructions that we say, hey, if you find a broken link, send us an email. We'll go and we'll fix it. This is just kind of a side project that I tend to keep an eye on. But here you can see London newspaper index. And some of these, I put this on last night. I didn't get a chance to verify. But there's a whole section here of London and of Niagara Branch. And these are the resources that you can use. Again, I just took some screenshots of the London branch website, free research resources. How many people have visited this site in the last 2 months? Okay. So, how many were on the site in the last week? Okay, great. And I use Essex Branch as an example because they are scanning yearbooks. And they're scanning yearbooks every day. And they're uploading them every day. With the dawn of the working of the internet and, the resources that are available, you should be going to your favorite sites or bookmark sites at least every 30 days. I would not exceed 60. Okay? Because there's information being uploaded all the time. And I'll give you an example as we go through. Here's another resource on their site as well. I was just speaking at Hamilton Branch last weekend in concern to that, and everybody's like, and Ben was there with us, and it was a great opportunity, and everybody's like, oh, we've been to the Hamilton site, and there's nothing there. I said, well, you're wrong. I said, with a couple clicks of a button, I put on a 250,000 name surname index on the Hamilton site. Okay? And we're finding these resources and we're making them available. So the reason why I share this one and the pedigree chart with you is simply this information can become readily available at any time. We're all volunteers, and work gets done at all sorts of weird hours. Trust me. And these resources were put online and made available and searchable for you. Okay? So how many people are aware that Canadiana is free starting next year? You know the website Canadiana? 6 million, is it 6 million out?
It's big.
It's huge. Well, they just got a grant of some sort. I don't understand the logistics of it, but the paid site, Canadiana, is starting free in January. So write that down. There's a resource that you can use. I always use Niagara because of course I'm most comfortable with it. But visiting the society web pages or data mining them, like I say, is lots of things that you can do on here. For example, Niagara, their complete library collection is a searchable index. Okay, we have as well an obit collection that somebody just over the years collected, cut out thousands of obits and pasted them onto a piece of paper, and then that was great, and I congratulate them. But imagine, it was a nightmare scanning them all. It was just massive to scan them all. The Morrison Sons, and there's other indexes that we can that are available. The Thorold Death Books was the best one we scanned. Massive ledger books. The city of Thorold let us have. We scanned them to the point where the last page, the guy was buried, I think 2 or 3 days prior to us scanning all the books. And they allowed us to get access. Again, it was another, now his staff isn't digging through these books. So from London's site, from Essex site, to Kent's, to Niagara's, to Sault Ste. Marie's, there are resources on these sites that people are just not aware that they're there. There's these valuable resources you will never ever find on Ancestry because they're just simply too small from the organizations. And Ancestry's not the only one. Family Search has said the same thing to me. They're just too small in what we're doing. So I'll just continue on. Another adventure that we are trying or working on, and people are familiar with the term GEDCOM. So it's the universal file you can download from your family tree program. Well, in the past at the Society office, people would mail us their family history books. Mail them in and figure we have this huge repository and we'll just stick it on the shelf with the rest of them. But now, with the change of technology, they are now starting to mail us USB keys with their GEDCOM files on them. And it's great because they're sending 50 meg GEDCOM files on a 64 gig USB key. I'm like, fine, I'll put the file on the server and I get a new. They don't want it back, so what am I going to do with it? But this site here, we've been under development. This is a picture from David Thompson's family, and this is from my wife's family. But we're uploading GEDCOM files to this site. It does protect the living, and the general public cannot change the information. It's locked. But they can search it. And somewhere it's sitting about 700? Is it 70,000 names?
Yeah, about 70,000.
It's sitting about
78,000.
70,000 names, and I know I have a few more GEDCOM files that need to go up into. But this is a repository that we're building for people who are done their family history, and they want a permanent home for it to go. And it's a resource that you can use. The only people that will be able to change is the original author who has sent the file. Okay? So this is something that the Society is doing and we're trying to grow for the future. OGS webinars. Have people used webinars? Know what webinars are? Okay. OGS webinars is another online resource that we offer for free for the members or non-members of the Society. And that is once monthly, and it's the first Thursday of every month. I do know there's some fantastic ones coming up in 2019, but I've just been sworn to secrecy, so I can't say anything. That's up to our webinar person. How many people use YouTube for genealogy? Okay. If you're not using YouTube, you're really kind of missing the boat in research. One night, I always share this story because it's usually the truth. My wife was punishing me and making me fold laundry, and that, I'll tell you, is a punishment to itself. And I got thinking, well, I'd really like to watch something while I'm doing this, and I found on the Find My Past YouTube channel a whole hour webinar on Irish church parishes and understanding them. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I got the thing running, I'm folding laundry, I'm doing this. It was a great series, and I was able to watch it for free. The laundry didn't get folded, but I did understand a whole lot more about Irish church parishes. So YouTube is a great resource, especially if you're looking for DNA information or different records and stuff like that. Social media, Facebook. I'm not a big fan of Twitter, but I kind of am forced to do it. But Facebook is another great resource. This year I was doing some research on my family, which is odd, and my family come from Mablewell, Scotland. Well, I didn't really even think about it until I started searching Facebook, and the town has a Facebook group. So I become a member of the group, and I just humbly asked them, I said, I'm a genealogist from Canada, and my family came from here. Can I just ask some questions? And very quickly, they were very polite to come back and said, yeah, let's get this person and get this person, and you shoot your questions, and they will answer you. And they were very good about it. So I was able to connect using social media. And I know there's some people who think it's the demon child of the internet, and that's okay. And I do know that there are some people who are on it who have fake names and everything, just so that they can use it for genealogy reasons. And that's fine too. So, great resources that are there. This one's going to get changed, but I didn't want to change it last night. We have started at the Society, I would say back in the 80s when the internet really kind of took off and people started building family history sites and they wanted to put their family history online. Well, we recognized in the last couple of years that these people are starting to retire. They don't want to take care of these sites anymore. And with the debacle of RootsWeb 2 years ago, that took down all sorts of sites, we recognized that the Society needs to also focus on the digital preservation, not just books and documents and stuff like that. So we have become a hosting company, really, in what we're doing. We've gotten websites like A Living Past out of Port Hope, is it? Port Hope. Yeah, out of Port Hope. We are now hosting Canada GenWeb, the cemetery website. She's the lady who actually runs it lives here in London, but we just hosting that for them. We're talking to 2 or 3 other sites. We've got a family history site, and we just got a naval warship site, and we've been talking to a few people. But this information, if you're familiar with a website called Cornwall Roots, that was another headstone kind of site. He is now retired and has taken the site offline. Thousands of pictures, thousands of documents.
60,000 headstones gone.
60,000 headstones vaporized. He will not share them. He doesn't want to pass them on to anyone. And that is what our mission is to try to preserve the digital along with the paper in what we're doing. And Ontario Ancestors, we've made some changes in the last couple of days. Ontario Ancestors will actually be moved over to this site. And that's what's going to happen there. But again, these are resources that can be made available and is free. for access. My wife would be terribly upset, including the team that's helping with Conference 2019, is going to be held here at the London Convention Centre. I'm very proud of myself because I did the presentation like 5 times and had last year's date on it. I finally got it changed. But we were there yesterday at the Convention Center. Absolutely fantastic facility. And we're going to have some difficulty for those who were at conference last year for getting the golf carts up the escalators, but we figure we'll get through it. No problem. But it's another great resource that you cannot buy online, is networking with people, connecting with people, and learning from each other. Because I teach lots of classes in public libraries, and I only teach for about 15 minutes tops. And then all I do is facilitate the conversation. And now all of a sudden you are learning from the person sitting beside you. Or really creepy, the person sitting beside you is actually a cousin, and you didn't know that. And that's actually happened in my class a couple times. So one of the newest things that we have stepped into is the Society has purchased a microfilm scanner. A lot of our branches across the province have microfilm. And census records on microfilm, which we know we can get pretty much anywhere. But a lot of our branches have proprietary microfilm, like this particular one from Hamilton. It's all on the Shaver family, but it's one microfilm. It was not made into Hamilton Public Library doesn't have it. Nobody has it. So we've now gone and digitized this piece of this microfilm, and we're in the process of trying to figure out how to put it online. And I'll show you in the next slide how we plan to do that. We want to go from branch to branch, and even beyond our branches. I've already talked to a couple libraries, and I know I've had a conversation with Essex as well. They've got some outside that they want to get involved in making information available. So this is going to be an excellent resource for digitizing microfilm. This image here is what I was just talking about. We are in the process of developing a site, and this site is actually live, and this is a great example of what we did. Out of Norfolk County, we got a digitized copy of a diary from a young lady from 1895 to 1917. And she just wrote about her life during that time period in Norfolk County. And we digitized it, and it's on this site. And what this site allows you to do is to look at the original document, and if you'd like to, transcribe it. So we can get the handwritten to a digital format. Then we can make available to the general public. Okay, crowdsourcing or crowd transcribing, whatever the term you want to do. This is a great document. It starts the first day, January 1st, 1895, that it rained. Okay, where's the genealogical value in that? But then in the next line it said, Mr. So-and-so come over for a visit. And I went, what a resource. What an opportunity to get that out there. Especially what it is. Unfortunately, on the third day, I was reading it. I couldn't get out of the book. And her dad passed away. And I'm like, oh, great. Now here comes all the family. All that information. I'm sorry about her dad, but all that genealogical information just started pouring in. So this is what we're going to tie with the microfilm scanner to try to get this information out and make it available. And the nice thing is, for those who might be interested in doing this, you can just do it from home. You don't have to do it in any location. So, in the hidden databases that I share, I would strongly encourage you to data mine the society pages. Visit them often. See what's out there. And even if it's not a society page, your local historical museum, your archive, there are volunteers out there, there's thousands of volunteers out there every day digitizing, scanning, making information readily available. Okay? keep looking for what's out there, because they say at this point, and there's an argument going on, between 3 to 5% of everything that could be digitized is online now. So when we digitize another 10,000 documents, that will go from 3% to like 3.2%. Okay? So we continue to work hard, but you need to keep watching the sites because they change every day, all the time in the resources. I know Lambton Branch has tons of resources on their site in their members only area. I know they've got quite a bit of stuff on the outside, and they've got a members only area. Same thing with London, Waterloo, Kent Branch. They all have lots of resources. But in that case, I try to share that these, again, are volunteers. And if you have a spare moment to help them put something online, one, you get first-hand access to the information, okay? But two, you're doing something for genealogy. So that means you're doing something for the next generation and making that available for them in their search and in their hunt. So thank you for listening to me, and please share about the good work that the Society is doing and in all of its branches around for another 50 years.
Thank you, Steve. We kind of rushed into the meeting, so I just want to kind of do something that we normally do, which is ask if there's any new members that have never been out to a meeting before. Anybody? If you want, you can introduce yourself. Let us know maybe what some of the surnames that you're looking for, and that way, if there's anybody in the room that shares that family name, they might be able to help you out.
Am I the only one?
Go ahead.
I'm Debbie Feil-Verhoeven. You probably know my name, Ben, through the email or Facebook.
Yeah.
I just joined. This is my first meeting. I don't have any ancestors in this area. My ancestors are from Haldimand and Niagara. But I thought I'd join the local society anyway because of this, the networking. So I'm kind of at a roadblock, and if anybody could just point me, like, this is great, giving me other places to look, to find my ancestors.
Hi, my name's John Sherritt. I think I may have been here once before, but I had an accident a while ago and broke my back and a bunch of ribs and a whacking head injury, and I kind of forget. But I just joined, and I don't have any real Ontario relatives either, except in the most recent years. I just did my DNA through Ancestry and find out that I'm 98% English, Irish, and Norwegian. So my focus has been in the last few years on Ireland, because my maternal side comes from from the west of Ireland. So that's kind of where I'm looking, and that's kind of where I've hit roadblocks. Most of the rest of my family I've managed to get back into the 1700s. So I'm doing pretty well on the rest of it, but
Those damn Irish.
still not sure where the Norwegian fits in, but
Vikings.
Vikings.
We've all got the Vikings.
Anybody else? I just kind of wanted to reiterate something that Steve was mentioning about the technology, and I manage our Facebook group, and we've got a lot of conversations going on there, which is fantastic, and everybody's sharing and helping each other. We have nearly 600 people in the group that are very, very active. Our newsletter that goes out is opened by a very, very large percent of the people that they get it, which is fantastic to see as well, so I appreciate that. Anyway, so moving on, I just wanted to introduce Dennis. Dennis Mulligan is one of our longstanding members of the branch. He's highly missed on our council for his wise advice and a lot of information that he provided the branch over the years. So, Dennis, if you want to come up, we can. Dennis is going to present a bit of history on the branch.
Four pages worth. Anybody have to go to the bathroom? I think I was asked to do this because you only look for people who are aged who can remember some of this. I thought I'd start though telling you that I joined this branch in 1969, but I didn't join this branch in 1969. And the reason for that is I came to one meeting. It was the stogiest group of people. They were all interested in their genealogy, you know, the who begat who in highfalutin society. And I wasn't interested in that. My wife is a German Canadian for, I think, about 5 generations, and I discovered that nobody really gave a damn. If she was British, that would have been just fantastic. And I also found out that my United Empire Loyalist type ancestors weren't called Germans, even though they were. Anyway, this is relatively long. This story was compiled by Jerry Tordiff and Ann O'Reilly, and they've done a fantastic job working on this over the years. So, London branch of OGS began its exciting journey as a founding meeting held March 7th, 1968 at the home of Madeline Roddick. I'm going to be reading a lot of names. It's important we recognize these boots from the past. Founding members were Ken Totten. You hear about that when we talk about the an obituary collection. Robert Stewart, Melvin Dale, David Carr, Reverend Robert Cumming, Audrey Laurie, Eileen DeSonji, Edith Cutler, Margaret Grieve, Ada Shirley, and Madeline Roddick. Ken Totten was elected chair, and the first meeting was held April the 4th, 1968 at Empress United Church. 25 to 30 people attended. At that time, the area covered included all areas southwest of Kitchener. So, Lambton, Essex, Kent, we're your mother. Following Ken Totten as branch chair were Rich Finkbeiner, David Carr, Joyce Scott, Arnold Nethercott, Dan Brock, who is here today, Margaret O'Grady, Don McFarland, Barbara Nethercott, Barbara Balch Nethercott, Lonnie Beer, Lorena Story, Dr. Bill Campbell, Ralph King, Glenn Scarborough. I'm looking around to see if I recognize any of these faces. Where do we go? Gene Newberry, Ken Wilson, Glenn Scarborough again. Some people are just, they're either very nice or very stupid. Wayne Wisniewski, Brian Pierce, Carolyn Croak, Dr. Dave Elliott, and Wayne Wisniewski again. In the spring of 1992, the branch name was changed to the London and Middlesex County branch of OGS. I mentioned the snobbery at first we were the London branch, and we didn't really care about the county. We did, but we didn't mention it. We really felt this better reflected the focus of the branch. Over the years, many capable volunteers have filled the following positions for the branch executive, which included chair, vice chair, treasurer, corresponding, recording secretaries. Committees included cemeteries, programs, membership, libraries, publications, early settlers, website, newsletter, and queries. Now, we've had a lot of venues for meetings and programs. After Empress United Church, meetings were held at the Canadian Bible Society, First St. Andrews United Church, Westmount branch of the London Public Library, and from September 2016 at the Family History Center on Riverside Drive. These are all improvements because the first sites we had were upstairs in buildings and there were no elevators. And we just automatically cut out a whole bunch of people who were really interested in family history. Originally, meetings were held the first Tuesdays of the month from 7 to 9 at night. After September 14, we changed to the first Saturday of the month. from 10 to 12 noon. Since the 60s, over 500 presentations have been, 500 genealogy-related talks have been given at these meetings. Library Resource Center locations. For the first 10 years, our library books and materials were carried to meetings in a shopping bag or two. A need for a more permanent location was realized, and a little room on the second floor of the Grosvenor Lodge was chosen. We're forced to leave there, and a short time later, more spacious accommodation in an office suite at Platts Lane was selected. We say selected, but the truth is we weren't waiting. We just needed something so badly. We were forced to leave Lawson. Oh, no. We remained there for a short time, then returned to Grosvenor Lodge on the main floor. In early 1998, we were able to move to the coach house at the rear of Grosvenor Lodge and remain there until 2017, when the library was closed and materials dispersed, some to Strathroy Library and the rest to a storage unit. The closure was related to the impact of the internet on genealogy, you know, the increasing number of people interested associated with the increasing number of people who stopped belonging to organizations like this, and our income went down, and so rentals went up. Now, the library or resource center was the hub of the branch, where experienced as well as beginning genealogists from all parts of North America came to get help. Our experienced genealogist volunteers, knowledgeable about the materials in the library as well as Middlesex County area, were valuable assets to the researchers who visited. The library committee, coordinated by Carol Hall and Jerry Torda, ran several bus trips, book sales, silent auctions. They also held an annual thank you Christmas tea to show their appreciation to the volunteers of the library for their dedication and help throughout the years. The explosion of genealogical resources caused a significant decrease in membership, as I mentioned, and as a result, it was necessary for us to close the branch in 2017. We also have a branch newsletter. Joyce Scott started the first newsletter, the London Leaf, published 7 issues on a Gestetner between 74 and 76. Originally, volunteers folded, addressed, and stamped envelopes for mailing the newsletter, but now newsletters are sent electronically. And just to let you in on this branch was the first branch of OGS to send electronic newsletters. Now, going electronically has allowed us to expand content available in each newsletter distributed to members. The paper newsletters that were mailed out were about a count of 10 pages. And believe it or not, that was dictated by the postage, Canada Post, and how big we could send it. Since then, with the newsletters electronically, we can go much higher, and we've gone up to 15 and 20 pages. In terms of the editorship, Joyce Scott was followed by Arnold Nethercott, then Dr. David Bellhouse, then Bill Zufelt, then Bill Dunn, and Linda McGee. Since 1992, Jerry Torda and I have been the co-editors, and Ann O'Reilly joined in 2001. And just to let you know how these things work out, we originally asked Ann to help us with the technical part because we were really screwing up on getting this thing working electronically, and she was able to help us with that, and over time, she got more and more interested, and so we sucked her in. Then, adding to Ann, in 2017, Joe Waterbury joined us. And Joe's been a wonderful extra addition to our thinking tank. Those of you who've done research in London at London Public Library, in the local history department, will remember Jill worked there for several years, many years, I think. Jill, you here? Jill's here. Okay. Now, we also have had seminars, conferences, and regional meetings. Regional meetings were hosted jointly with Elgin and Oxford branches, and all speakers shared educational topics with those in attendance. Now we're getting to the conferences. OGS used to have what was called seminars, and the seminar was in fact an annual conference, but they used the term seminar. So Maurice Comfort from here chaired the Seminar 79 committee. That's a long time ago. The branch hosted Seminar 98, entitled Settlers to Satellites. It was co-chaired by Ken Wilson and myself. It boasted an attendance of more than 800 genealogists. It was held at the University of Western Ontario. 10 years later, when we did it again, in 2008, we hosted Conference 2008. You'll notice a change in the name. That was very important, to change that name and make it a more professional kind of presentation event. I was the chair of that. And we called that Wired Genealogy. And again, that was the first really conference focused on the internet and using speakers who were very, very familiar with the internet. For this event, it was successful too, and it was held at Fanshawe College, and there were about 900 to 1,000 attendees for that. Now, coming back locally, the branch computers, with the help from a grant, a computer system was purchased in 1996, and Ancestry.com added for researchers. A second computer system was later purchased, and at least 200 local databases are added to assist our library patrons. This computer and Ancestry were located in our regional library. We have a website. Original website was set up by Wayne Wisniewski. Brian Elliott later became the branch webmaster, aided by myself, Ann O'Reilly, and Jerry Tardif. The website was redesigned, and many branch resources were scanned, then added. And thanks to the promo we just got, I expect everybody here will go and take a look at it, because I got the idea that many of you have never ever seen it. And I think you should take a look. For instance, if you'd like to know who the soldiers were that went out west in 1880-something for the Riel Rebellion, that database is online on our website. I know, so what? Okay, Facebook. In November 2014, David Thompson, the guy standing in the corner, set up the branch Facebook page. And Ben Dawson and I have been monitoring it since that time. There's an obituary project under the direction of Victor Sifton, collection of obituaries covering 1989 to 1998 was pasted in binders, indexed, and added to the branch computer. Also added was the smaller Totten collection from 1945 to 1950, collected from various local newspapers. Jerry Tardif, she's here somewhere, coordinated, and with an awful lot of willing volunteers, and there were an awful lot of people involved in this. Cut, pasted, and indexed more obituaries. The resulting collection now covers 1945 to 1950 and 1967 to 2017. Brian Elliott, the branch webmaster, has added these to the branch website with a searchable index. This is an index on the website. It is not the scanned obituaries themselves, although those are available. Oh, more projects. This is like a second talk, isn't it? An early settlers project. This was headed by Joyce Scott. The definition of an early settler was anybody settling in Middlesex County prior to 1900. Members who qualified filled out a form providing detailed information about their settlers. Since their contact information was included on the sheet, it was hoped that others with the same settler's surname would contact the person who completed the form. Index to this is available on our website, and hopefully we can get to the point. We have the actual forms scanned, but we don't have them up and available to everybody at this point. Now, bus trips. The branch ran several bus trips to the North York Public Library, Archives of Ontario, and Global Genealogy when it was located in Campbellville. People know what Global Genealogy is. It's a commercial outfit that really is super good at providing you with material related to particularly Ontario. It's worth Googling. Cemetery project. Very proud of this. The extensive project for cemetery transcriptions, cemetery tombstones, was started by Mona Aiken with the goal to record all cemetery stones in Middlesex County. She held cemetery picnics with volunteers who would record the stones in each particular cemetery. And the first cemetery publications were completed in 1984 with several later updates. Mona went on to coordinate the cemetery transcription project of OGS. So she's very responsible for the whole shebang. I'm on page 4. Census projects. The census of London Town and Township was transcribed under the direction, I guess, of Gail Cloutier. And I think Dan Brock was also very involved in this. The 1852 Middlesex County Census, Dan, with a host of volunteers, coordinated and published transcription of this. Now, sadly, part of the 1852 census for Middlesex County was missing. So, Jerry Tordiff and I got to work and created a census substitute. And most of London Township that had not survived is now available as a substitute and has been published by the branch, is online again on the membership. That's one of those things that's not available anywhere else. And if you're interested what was done there, just to sit for a second, we looked for any listing of people who were living in London Township or in London City in 1852 and transcribed those lists and put them into a single volume. So we got a pretty good picture of the people that were here. Also, I believe that the 1842 census that I just mentioned, which is in our branch databases, is not available on Ancestry. Aha! In the 1861 census for Middlesex County, Jerry Tordiff coordinated this indexing project with the help of, again, many, many branch volunteers. After the index was created, it was computerized, and once the townships were indexed, they were published separately in a series of booklets. And we also chose to include Biddulph and McGilvery townships, which had separated from Huron County in 1863 to become part of Middlesex County. And again, all of those are readily available on our branch website. Chattel mortgages. In case we have nothing to do, we're looking for volunteers. Currently, the indexing of chattel mortgages is a project undertaken by Carolyn Crowe. Now, I'm in the last 2 paragraphs. The branch assisted OGS with the following projects for Middlesex County: indexing the 1871 census, which was coordinated by Lorena Story. You remember, it was just a book of heads of households and what they called strays, people who didn't belong to the family who lived in the same house. They were published. And that's one of the things that Ancestry did pick up on, and they grabbed that one for the entire province. Anyhow, that was coordinated by Lorena Story. The Wesleyan Methodist Baptismal Register Project, indexing for Middlesex, was done by Carolyn Crowe. And Bill Campbell undertook the Middlesex portion of the Church Register Project. Over the years, we've had the help and support of several other staffs, including that of the London Room, Central Branch of London Public Library, Archives and Research Collections Center, Western University, and Strathroy Public Library. So that's what we've been doing for 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. So I can't emphasize, and we hear it, we've been hearing it all this morning, the importance of volunteers in our group. Dennis and many other volunteers have put together all kinds of resources for the branch. Some are online, some are still to come online and things like that. And they make up some of these resources that Steve was talking about earlier that just aren't available anywhere else, and which really highlights the importance of our branch and what it does for genealogists in the area or around the world, actually, because we have members all over the place. So, I was going to say something else, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll move on. Another familiar name in our branch that we've already heard, David Elliott. He's going to come up and offer some presentations to some of the members of the branch. Thanks, Ben.
Wayne, could you please come up? I'm going to read you a letter that was sent by Patty, the former president of OGS. Dear Wayne, on behalf of the Ontario Genealogical Society, its board and its members, I want to congratulate you on winning the Society's Citation of Recognition. This award was designed to recognize Society members who have shown leadership in the Ontario Genealogical Society, have made tangible contributions to the Society beyond the local branch, and have furthered the cause of genealogy in Ontario. You have been a very active member of the Ontario Genealogical Society and an active member of the London and Middlesex branch since 1969. With the branch, you took on leadership roles as chair and other executive positions, including being their IT guru. At the Society level, you were treasurer of the OGS seminars in London in 1998 and the conference in 2008. Your teaching of the PATH genealogy program has helped many genealogists. Your knowledge of Eastern European genealogy has been shared through making presentations to other branches using your tangible knowledge. And your work locally in London shows your leadership capabilities, while you work on OGS seminars, courses in PAF, and presentations on Eastern European. Show your contributions beyond the local area. Without members like you, the Ontario Genealogical Society would not be the organization it is today. Your passion and commitment to genealogy in Ontario is the one that OGS wants to recognize. Thank you for all of your hard work. And there is this nice certificate that Wayne could put on. I love me well. Very good.
Thank you very much. If anybody knows anybody can do Czechoslovakian translation, I would love to hear from you.
Jerry Torda, please come forward. Jerry has been an OGS member since 1984. Her areas of interest include local and British genealogy and United Empire loyalists. Now, I'm going to be replicating a lot that Dennis has already said because he has really covered a lot of things that you've done. You've taken on various roles and responsibilities within the branch, including being librarian, corresponding secretary, publications committee, co-editor of the branch newsletter, a trip organizer, fundraiser, working on updating the branch website, and as co-chair of the library committee, you organize the volunteers and plan volunteer appreciation events and participated in the Open Doors Heritage Week events as well. And I remember one of the first meetings I attended when we were down in the St. Andrews United Church. You and Carol were putting on a presentation about going to family reunions and taking a genealogy kit and then having various of the people who were attending there to fill out the paperwork so that there could be a database. And that was a very good thing that you did. And you were also advertising the bus trips to various centers in order to expand the knowledge of genealogists and how to use the various resources. Dennis has spoken about the work of the indexing of the obituaries and all of the volunteers who were clipping out the various pieces and putting those books together. It was a huge job. And we brought in a big machine from Toronto, from the OGS headquarters, a number of years ago, and they scanned all of those obits, and we are still updating that, and you were very much part of that project. You organized events at the conferences and the seminars earlier. We nominated you for a volunteer award in 2009, and also one of the first projects I got involved with in the OGS that was headed by Jerry was the indexing of all the people listed on Tremaine's 1862 map of Middlesex. And you've been really boots on the ground. And we purchased a laptop so you could take it into the public library because you were going through various records, and it gave you a way of indexing the things right on site there. And these pieces of work that she was doing in the libraries and at Western have been appearing in the London Leaf very often. Lists of various members of organizations and schools and higher education and military people. The list goes on and on. And so I won't go on and on, but you and your husband, Bob, have been very much part of our organization. Thank you very much. This particular award comes with it an honorary lifetime membership to OGS.
I just want you to know that without all these volunteers that willingly help me, none of these would have gotten done. Thank you.
Dennis, will you please come up? Dennis is retired from a career in children's mental health. He has lived in southwestern Ontario most of his life and currently lives in London. His family history research includes the US, English and French Canada, Germany, Ireland, France, and England. Dennis has been a popular presenter at various genealogical societies in Ontario and in Michigan, as well as the regional meetings and also the conferences. On the local level, he's conducted beginner level courses in family history within the communities, and also spoken to genealogy as a hobby, more of as a religion. He has coordinated genealogy-focused elder hostel events. He was co-chair of two of our big society conferences in '98 and 2008. And the 2008 was the most successful numerically of the conferences, and probably financially as well. He has been a co-editor of the London Leaf for over 25 years. And he's held executive positions in other organizations of OGS, Grey Bruce, and he's been a member of the board of directors in Toronto for the provincial office. He has participated in many of the volunteer projects that we have organized. And he received a volunteer award from Ontario in 2009. His most recent efforts are digitizing the branch publications and making these available on the website. And he's also a regular contributor to the Facebook site. Not only is the interest in genealogy at the digital level, but he's still very much a strong advocate of getting back to the basics and teaching how to build family histories the old way, going back to interviews and documents. He leads by example in being instructive, interesting, and humorous in his presentations to the public. Dennis is married to Dorothy, a retired secondary school teacher. He's the father of 4 adult daughters and has 2 grandchildren. Again, I want to thank Dennis for all of his work. And likewise, an honorary lifetime membership in OGS.
May I say one thing?
Yes, go ahead.
We all do genealogy DNA, or most of us. For the fun of it, me and my 2 twin daughters did the DNA. And for those of you who have done the DNA kits, you know that you get a feedback thing from Ancestry or whoever, and it tells you the relationship of one person to another. My twins are so closely related to one another that the computer programs could not differentiate. They refer to one as her sister. My daughter Sarah is Sarah's sister. My daughter Margaret is Margaret's sister. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I remember what I was going to say earlier. So in discussing volunteers, just want to let you know, like some of our own branch council members are helping out with some of the tours for the upcoming conference too. So be sure to check them out if you're planning on going to the conference. Also, and she's not in the room, but I want everybody to make sure you give thanks to Sheila. She almost single-handedly organized today's event. She did pull in a lot of resources from everybody, of course, but she did a fantastic job of arranging today. So
We should drag her in.
yeah. She hiding? We'll get her in here in a second. So. Yeah, so congratulations to those that were recognized. It just goes to show that there are people within our organization that are incredibly passionate about what we do. I get a little over passionate myself sometimes, and my wife is very patient with me as I plug through some of my stuff as well. So I wanted to, I will give thanks to Sheila when she get her in here, but I did want to bring up David Thompson. David's actually got some door prizes that we're going to give out. I believe everybody has tickets. So if you have your tickets. Oh, did they? Okay, sorry. Oh, first of all, Sheila, that you did a fantastic job of organizing today. I've been kind of busy myself, so I haven't really had a chance to help too much with today's events, but Sheila did.
I had other helpers. You helped by chairing the meeting today, so.
Yeah, no, so it's, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and some of these committees that we hear talked about, the cemetery committee and things like that, some of them we definitely could use some help with, some of these digitization projects, so if you have some spare time, I'm sure we all do, and are interested in helping out, definitely approach us and let us know, and we can see if there's a fit for something that we're working on, or something we can have you do as well, so.
Now, the tickets went in, the draw tickets are in a bag on the table,
They're
I
in a
think?
bag on the table, hold on.
And while we're waiting for that bag to come in, let me remind you that your memberships, if you haven't renewed, they expire on December 31. And let's get out there and let's all renew. If you know anybody else who wants to join, you can use the Grow Our Family and get a half-price membership for you and for the new person, and that's a good deal.
Did anybody not get a ticket? Well, you didn't follow the instructions.
Just one
No new car. No new car. You have a pen. I'll take that. Anybody else? Did I miss anything? No? You all follow the program? It's warm in here. Is that all Steve hot air? Yes, there is. Thank you. Okay.
Following the draw, we'll do just a few announcements and stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
That'll be part of our. Okay, so the first prize we'll do is for a water bottle.
A wonderful classy water bottle here, aluminum, you won't get sick from that.
Now if you only put a water in it.
And the water bottle is for
John Brandt. John Brandt, yeah.
John Brent.
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 There he is.
There we are.
You.
You're gonna take that thing?
Okay, so we'll do Tim Hortons.
Yep, that's.
There we go.
It's a ceramic or porcelain type of coffee mug from Tim Hortons, travel mug, and it has, or tea mug for some people, and it has a Tim Hortons gift card with it.
It'll keep you awake while you're doing your genealogy.
Need a bigger cup.
And that is Wayne Cole.
The next one is the
Yes. The next item, researching your Irish ancestors at home and abroad by some fellow named Dr. David R. Elliott. And if you're the lucky winner of this, if you play your cards right, you might get a signed by the author. And that is Pat Flannery. And the next book is Toronto Illustrated. Ooh, Toronto. Toronto Illustrated 1893. With historic buildings and stories and all that good stuff.
And they're the oldest branch, OGS branch, so we're the second oldest.
Yes.
I don't know if that was mentioned while I was out.
it's not.
and that is Mary Ann Jameson. And next we have Family Tree Maker, the program, and the companion guide for those of you who don't like to read online. Everything in the book is also on the disc itself. And this is a cute little box with a USB key and the program on the key for Family Tree Maker. And then once you've loaded that on your machine, you can use this as a little keepsake box or whatever.
And that's courtesy of
Courtesy.
McKeough? Yeah, McKeough.
Courtesy of Macchieff Software, the makers of Family Tree Maker. And what you should do, when the winner of this should do, you can install it, but to get registered for support and the rest, you would need to email in what you could do, email your name and email address information either to them at support or to me, david.thompson@ogs.on.ca, and I'll pass it along so you get properly registered. And that is David Gordon.
Oh.
And then we've talked a little bit about DNA. We have from MyHeritage a DNA kit. Suggested retail value in some cases $109, but you can still buy them today for $69 online for the rest of you.
Plus shipping?
Buy 2 or more and they're free shipping. And I might say, if you've done the ancestry test, until December 15th, you can download, anytime, you can download your ancestry test, and until December 15th, you can upload it to MyHeritage for free. They will reanalyze and match it up onto their database. From anybody who's got an ancestry kit or a family tree DNA kit or any of the others. And for this one, Joanne Paul.
Whoa, that's me. 23andMe. Can that upload to this too?
I believe it can, I'm not positive.
Yes.
Okay, I believe that they do
That's-
accept
yes.
23andMe.
I just
to
did
make
it.
heritage.
Okay,
Well,
someone said I
I've
just
seen
did it.
instructions how to do it, so I think there's something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then finally, again from MyHeritage, we have a 1-year subscription to the MyHeritage Complete Plan, which they say full access about $334 value for an annual subscription. And before I give that away, and you know that on the like Ancestry, you can have your tree on there and you can attach records to it and research on their database. But for those of you who do not win this, for $10, you can have access to the whole database. You can't do the family tree and you can't look up other trees, but you can research 9.2 billion records for $10 for all of next year, buying it on the OGS site as part of your membership or separate from your membership. And the winner is Ken Lowe's.
Oh. Ken is a brand new member. He's my neighbor, I'm just giving full disclosure. But we did sign up together under the Grow Your Family, so.
Outstanding, well done. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yes, actually, sorry, I'm gonna have that.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that's yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna call Steve Fulton up again, for presentation to the branch.
There's been lots of talk about volunteering, about the good work that this branch has done over the 50 years. And as the current president of the society, and on behalf of the board and everyone, we just want to say congratulations to you all, to your past councils, to your current council. So on behalf of the society, we'd like to offer a 50-year certificate recognizing that. So congrats. Now you're new.
So I think we got a few announcements we wanted to go over.
One thing just about, it's probably been mentioned while I was out of the room, but just, we just got a report on the people who have renewed their memberships for 2019, and we're at the bottom. So we need to bring that up. We need to get up to where Toronto is, which is at the top. So don't forget to renew your OGS membership and the branch as well, hopefully. And that's all I had to say about that, but I was hoping that Diana would give an update on the 2019 conference, which is going to be held here in London.
All right, conference this year, as Steve pointed out in his thing, is in June. It's later in the month than it usually is, but just logistics worked out that way. It's going to be at the Convention Center. We're hoping all of you can come. We have 12 workshops on the Friday, 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. We have 36 sessions Saturday and Sunday with speakers from the Netherlands, England, across Canada, across the US. And we also have one on Hispanic and, and on copyright. So those are some of our really big ones that we're having, and we're very excited. It's all coming together. We just firmed up the Convention Center and a couple hotels. Your team here has been meeting with us every 2 weeks to get the tours going, which we're gonna have some fabulous tours, which we thank you guys for helping with that. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just a whole lot of stuff. We're always looking for volunteers. If you're coming to the conference, you can help out for a couple hours. You wanna help out for the whole weekend, send me an email, or talk to one of your council members that are involved, and we can get you connected. Thanks.
There's a banquet on Saturday night there as well, is there not?
Yes, there is. There is a banquet on Saturday night.
And just a plug for your membership again, if you are an OGS member, you get a reduced price for the conference for.
And we are going,
days.
and we're going live with registration January 1st. But you can buy a gift certificate for Christmas for anybody that wants to go.
I also wanted to mention that the Family Tree Maker Companion Guide, the one we just gave away, I do have some additional ones. If anybody's interested in purchasing one, we have them. I think they were $21, yes. So it's a great little resource.
And I'd just like to say, on behalf of the council, a really big thank you to all the volunteers that have helped, past council members, some of whom have taken on some roles today. And we've had a difficult year, a challenging year, filling those spots. We've pretty much, I think, filled quite a few of the roles, and we're going to start to come together and be a little bit more structured, hopefully next year. And but I really want to pay particular attention to the newsletter committee. So they're one of the active committees that have been going on for years and years and years with the same two co-editors, and I know that they were honored here previously, but they don't get a lot of recognition, and they've stayed with us through all these years, and being one of the only active, really, committees that we have now. We don't have an active cemetery committee anymore, which was another big one, and maybe we'll get that going again, but I really want to pay particular attention and thanks to the volunteers, especially in that committee.